Hello,
Yes.
everyone. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Let's High Strong. So I've been gone for a couple weeks. I'm your host, Chance Ellison. Joining me are my co-hosts, Mike Deacon, and below us, Jacob London. We've been gone for a few weeks because Jacob London had a big life change recently.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
God.
I'm really proud of that one.
Yep, it is honestly, I don't know how. Okay, so I've always done the show at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, but on a Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. I'm exhausted.
Right.
I am bugging.
Don't worry.
How the hell have you
You'll
guys
love it.
done this show like this?
You'll get
I do
used
this
to
at
it.
10 at night.
Oh my God. People are crazy.
But yeah, so we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today, and one thing we're talking about, the main subject of the show is going to be, we're going to rank every first overall pick since the turn of the century. This is a very, very complicated list when you really look at it. But we're going to talk about that right now. So I guess my thing to talk about first of which is, I got some news involving your boys. First of which, we kind of knew this was happening, but it's now been officially confirmed. The Jets are going to be the subject of this year's Hard Knock, despite Robert Saleh doing everything in his power to get out of it. The league said no, you're doing this.
This very much felt like a, hey, anyone does anyone else want it? No, sorry guys, you're doing it.
Well, that's what the rules always have been. You know, if you fell within the qualifications, there were 4 teams that from the get-go could not turn it down if nobody else took it. Nobody else took it, so it came down to those 4.
They did offer the Lions a second season, which is odd. They've never done that. Like, they're in a team back-to-back season, which is crazy. But yeah, Detroit said no, so yeah, the Jets, they got no choice.
Yeah, it's, you know, I have mixed feelings on it. Like, I have mixed feelings about Hard Knocks for another reason, which I'll go into in a minute. But obviously, with the Jets have done for years now, they've produced their own show, which is similar to Hard Knocks, but it's made by them, called One Jets Drive. They've done that for years now. Rich Eisen narrates it. It's on their social media pages. You can watch it on YouTube, but that's all done in house. So they show you what.
You cutting out for you too?
Yeah, I lost him.
I lost him too. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Look, I think got him back.
Okay, I don't know where I dropped out exactly, but what I was just gonna say is,
Damn it!
Nope. Lost him again.
Gone again.
Okay. So my thoughts overall on Jets getting Hard Knocks is, I think I understand why they don't want it. I understand that it is one of those, hey, this is going to be a distraction. I also understand that HBO are probably going to get very annoyed with it because they're not going to get access as well as they have been expected. But here is where and I think there is a little bit of a silver lining. And Mike, I would be excited. This is going to be Rodgers' first taste of New York media.
right.
What's it going to be like? And at least it's going to get out of the way during preseason. Because, again, you guys have, I think, easily the hardest first 7 weeks in the schedule. And he is going to be criticized. Because I think there is a very realistic chance the Jets go 1-6. I think it's a very realistic chance, given how tough that opening schedule is, that they go into the bye week 1-6 and then have to face the Giants a week later. The back half of their schedule is very easy, and I think they can go on a 10-game win streak. But that first 7 games is rough, and Rodgers is going to get criticized, and he's going to get criticized a lot. This, I think, is going to be his kind of just, hey, here is us easing you into that.
Yeah,
So the other thing I wanted to bring, Yeah, I was gonna say the other thing I did want to bring up though. How is Hard Knocks going to work? Hypothetically, there's no narrator. There's no like. This is going to be a very weird. You're not going to have Leif Schreiber right now with the strike. So how different is this show going to be when it's just directed off of footage as opposed to them creating their narratives that they've done, historically, where Hard Knocks is notorious for making some undrafted player seem like America's hero. Are they going to be able to do that with,
unless you get someone who's not Gil to do it, which is possible.
I don't think it's possible, but I think the other thing is Salah's already said they will not be filming cuts.
Oh, interesting.
Like he's said we will not let them film cuts. They don't believe that should be filmed. So what are they going to get? Like this, it's going to be a weird season of Hard Knocks. It's going to be a really weird season, and because you're right, you're not going to get Liev, and I think there's going to be a lot of restrictions on what they're showing.
Yeah, so we'll see how that season turns out. But in the realm of positive Jets news, after a bit of a holdout, it has been confirmed Quinnen Williams has been re-signed. 4 years, $96 million guarantee. And I do have a video that captures the attitude of Jets fans right now.
Whopper, Junior, double, triple, Whopper, flame grill taste with perfect toppers. I move this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup, it's okay if I don't want that Impossible or bacon Whopper, any Whopper my way. FBK, have it your way. FBK, have it your way.
Of course, my internet stayed up for that.
Yeah, it's Quinnen Williams. Re-signed 4 years, $96 million, 66 guaranteed. This is a great pickup for them. He had a breakout season last year. He's going to be an anchor on that front seven for years and years and years. You need to keep him in the house. You did. Mike, where's your head at right now?
Home run. I mean, it was the easiest decision. It's a shame it took this long to happen, but he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. He's gotten better every year since he's been a pro. Since he became pro. No brainer. You had to keep him.
Absolutely.
Again, yeah. Mike said, this is. Look, I understand why there was the little bit of a umming and ahhing, but at the same time, it was always going to happen. This had to happen. The Jets. Once you get Aaron Rodgers, you're all in. You at this point, the Jets have to realize they're all in. And if they don't make this work in the next 1 or 2 years, what was the point? So, yeah, of course you do a deal like this. You need him.
And now they have Quinnen, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, all under contract for 4 years with their rookie deals. So, you got the foundation is all there. They have, their window is kind of established right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if Rodgers stays for 3 years, which I think is pushing it, I really think Rodgers staying for 3 years is a big ask.
Mm-hmm.
But if he does, that's their window. That is their legitimate. Here is a 3-year window. The scary thing is if Rodgers retires at the end of this season, you guys are in for a world of hurt. You're in for a real world of hurt because there isn't going to be a quarterback just on the market to go grab.
Yeah.
No first round pick next year. So, yeah.
Especially. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we'll see how the Jets are going to be a very interesting to watch for the next couple of years. So, this is going to be a big part of it. Congrats, Quinnen Williams, for getting his bag. Also getting his bag after getting franchise tag. The Jaguars have agreed to an extension with tight end Evan Ingram, 3 years, $41.25 million with $24 million fully guaranteed. I mean, look, 2 years ago, I thought this would have been a ridiculous deal for Evan Ingram because if you watch Evan Ingram in New York, you would wonder whether or not his hands were made of bricks most of the time. He really improved his game when he went to Jacksonville. Granted, he did have a better quarterback to play with in Jacksonville than he did in all of his years with New York. Mm-hmm. Although, granted, he still got to catch the ball, but still. Career high year in Jacksonville. Still might be a little pricey, but hey, look, if he continues how he's playing right now, I think this is a very fair deal.
At some point this bill's going to come due for the Jags. At some point, this bill has got to come due. They are spending a lot of money on a lot of
B
Average
pluses.
players.
yeah,
B or B pluses, yeah.
yeah. Like,
Even
look,
saying B plus is generous.
I understand they've got another 2 years before they're going to have to spend the big paycheck.
Mm.
But
That's going to be huge.
it's still, this is they spent a lot of money on mediocre to okay players, and at some point this bill's going to come due. Hopefully it's not a hey, this bill has come due and completely destroyed this team bill, but I don't know. This
Thing is, the Jags had a lot of cap space to play with when they signed a lot of these guys, so like they can't afford it.
They can afford it. They can afford it because they don't have to pay the big bill that's coming.
Yeah.
On the rookie deals, yeah.
But that's the okay. When that you've got basically you've got 2 years. Jacksonville have 2 years, and if they can't do it within then, that's when it's going to start getting really interesting because they haven't found and developed these young players. The Jets have got incredible young players where if they can figure out their quarterback situation, then they're a Super Bowl ready team. I mean, we've said, look, a down Aaron Rodgers, we're all going. There's a real chance they could make a Super Bowl even in the AFC because that team around him is so good. With the worst quarterback in the league last year, they were what they had? They had 8 and they were 7-10 or
7-10.
7-10 with the worst quarterback in the league. You add just even a down Rodgers who is not been amazing. They're going to be better. They're going to be a better team. Jacksonville have an amazing quarterback, but the rest of that team's not amazing.
No, it's not.
So that's the thing I worry about with Jacksonville. They've got a really good coach and a really good quarterback, a great quarterback even.
Yeah.
They've not done enough for me to go, how are you going to help him when you need to pay him? Otherwise, if I'm Lawrence, why am I staying in Jacksonville?
It's gonna be interesting to see how that develops when you do gotta pay Lawrence the big bucks, which is like again you still got 3 years on that because
No, yeah, but you think about it. Burrow's going to have the highest contract in NFL history.
Yep.
Herbert's going to then either just beat it or be just
right,
under it.
Right.
It depends who goes first. It really depends who will go first. Because Herbert will have the highest, and then Burrow will beat it, or something like that's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But then Lawrence is next. And he's going to have the high, and then Lawrence will get the highest contract because he will be next, and that's just how these contracts work. And I'm worried about Jacksonville. I got 2 years, guys. Like this is really it, and you've got to somehow do it with Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes in your conference.
Well, you know who's not getting paid, guys? Running backs. We didn't talk about that last time, but we got to bring it back. You got to talk about the state of the running back market yet again.
Terrible.
Because look, the franchise tag deadline happened 2 days ago.
That was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? It was actually yesterday, 2 days ago. Point is, the deadline for them to work stuff out happened. And okay, look, of all the players who got tagged, the ones who did not get long-term contract offers were, you guessed it, all the running backs. Saquon, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard did not get long-term contract offers. Pollard signed his franchise tag. Saquon and Josh Jacobs did not, which this caused a big uproar amongst other league players, mainly running backs, like people like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler chiming in, like all these guys who were just saying, like, you realize you're kind of screwing our position, right?
I said this a couple of weeks ago on the show.
I'm really worried about the running back in the game of football 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Really worried because right now in high school, why would you be a running back?
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
and like, yeah, and that's the sad part. Like, and and it's not one of those like, oh, people do it for love. Like, there is a separation between, yes, there's the love of the game, and then there's also the monetization of it. If I'm a parent right now, I'm not pushing my kid to be a running back.
Exactly. And most running backs, like I would say, if you're somebody who's built to play running back, you go to the other side of the ball, you go to linebacker, you go to safety or something like that, because that's the correlation of what those positions are getting paid compared to the running back right now. 100%, that's where to go.
I think it's like on average, aren't like kickers making more than running backs right now?
They are,
because kickers are getting the contract. That's the difference. Like they're making more because after their fourth year, they're getting a contract for another 2 or 3 years. They might not be getting it after that, but they're at least getting that contract. Running backs aren't. They're getting franchise tagged, and then that's it.
And the thing with some of the kickers too, Justin Tucker is making more than almost every running back in the NFL. It's like 2 or 3 of them that are making more than Justin Tucker next year. Which is, and granted, it's Justin Tucker, but at the same time, so many teams are going to running back by committee now. And so like they have 3 or 4 running backs on their active roster, and those running back 3 and running back 4 are barely making they're just above the league minimum, if not the league minimum. So everything is just coming down. They're just happy to make the roster. And because of that, there's no premium incentive. Look at the NFL right now. How many teams have an outright alpha running back? It's less than half.
It's not a lot.
I mean, it's Titans. It's
Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's Titans. It's Giants, Raiders, which 2 of them are off contract now, and and then it's Cowboys. And I mean Colts. Look, I mean we were all singing what's his name's praises 2 years ago, and then last year, like. Is he an elite running back? We don't know. Like, and then 49ers is
Debo,
even Christian McCaffrey, as good as he is, still committee.
He's only on the field two downs pretty much. So
yes, I'm very curious about what happens with running backs in the future, because look, I mean, because people don't understand, like running backs are vital to this game. Look at the Chargers Jags game from the playoffs last year, and that's a prime example of why running backs are important.
Sorry, look at my team.
Yeah,
what's the one position we have been missing? For
years.
What we're missing? It's the one position. If we could get I'm praying that the Giants do something stupid and give us Saquon for nothing. I'm really hoping that happens, because if they do, we're going to be scary. We are going to be a scary team if we can get Saquon Barkley, but I don't think it's going to happen, because the Giants would have to be moronic to do it. But I just, teams are going to need, and we are not going to feel the true devastating effects of this until about 10, 15 years from now, when the next generation haven't come through, because when they were a kid, parents and everyone just went, don't risk it. Why would you risk trying to be a running back? You're not going to make any money doing it. You're just going to destroy your body for nothing.
So yeah, we'll see how these these situations with these players pan out. Last story we're talking about before we get to the main event. DeAndre Hopkins, a free agent. A lot of talk of where he's going to go. I never thought this would be the move, but here we are. DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Titans, 2 years, $26 million, which could be worth up to 32. He'll be back in a second, but yeah. So yeah, I don't understand the logic here. I really don't.
Money. That's the only thing I can think of, is that, which again makes no sense to me, because
he could have gotten a very similar contract from Kansas City.
Well, he could. Okay, so the Kansas City one is what everyone's saying, that Kansas City were willing to pay the same thing. I think.
Well, the thing is, he might not gotten the targets he wanted in Kansas City because Travis Kelce's still
Yeah.
there. But
I think that was his fear. If he went, like, I can understand not going to Kansas City because he wouldn't have been the guy. It would have been Kelsey and it would have been Mahomes, and I think that is where he went. No, I want to have at least be the guy. The one that the biggest L in the entire world right now are the Patriots. And that's like, this is either, and look, I was never 100% on he was going to go to the Patriots because, I mean, him and Bill, I can't imagine him and Bill O'Brien's relationship is particularly good.
there was no universe, no dimension in which he would ever play under Bill O'Brien ever again.
Exactly. And that, so I was never really that high on it, but that it's just, again, an indicator of Belichick's say within the league starting to wane. Mac Jones, they don't trust or believe in. So yeah, I think the Titans are an interesting pick. I think the Titans are a pick where he's gone there because they were willing to pay him. I think the Patriots weren't willing to do this deal. I'm fairly,
which is funny because I'm pretty sure they do have the cap space to do it.
They do. They were one of the few teams that would, but I think they weren't willing to do this deal. And I think I think he is sacrificing a ring to play for them. But I do also think this does make the Titans not a contender in Super Bowl, but at least their division. I think it's no longer Jacksonville.
Well, they have a passing game now, which is important.
Exactly. Like so, all off season, I've been saying this is Jacksonville of winning this division because they're the only team that's good. Titans could now threaten Jacksonville. I think Titans could actually go in and be like, okay, we could maybe take this division or a wild card spot. I'm not like, I think that this does make them a little bit of a scary team. It's all going to depend on Derrick Henry. I think that is a huge part of this. And
looks like a bit on Tannehill.
Sorry?
Looks like a bit on Tannehill.
That too, yeah.
Or Levis, or Willis, or whoever the fuck is throwing the ball.
Yeah, but that's.
I mean, look, this is a need. This was a need for the Titans. Like, keep in mind, the Titans before this probably had the most unremarkable group of pass catchers in the entire NFL.
Them were the Giants.
Before this, they're leading. The person with the most receiving touchdowns on their roster was Mike Vrabel, the coach. So yeah, the Titans needed this. I do think D-Hop kind of screwed up, because like I'd say take a ring chaser's minimum and go to like the Bills, go to Kansas City, go somewhere. They don't need you in Philly, but go to Philly. Like, you could have done other stuff, but you know what, D-Hop, you do you. You're probably gonna be a Hall of Famer anyway, so just
is he?
You do you. I think so.
Not a first ballot, but I think
maybe not first ballot, but he'll get in.
Yeah, he can sneak in eventually.
I mean, I don't know. He was phenomenal at the Texans.
His first season in Arizona were really good too.
He had one very good season in Arizona, but got injured halfway through. Was suspended for the other season. Like, I don't know. I unless he lights it up in the Titans, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer.
Hopkins put up I think 5,000 or 6,000 yard seasons, been an all pro 5 times, 5-time Pro Bowler. Like, I think he's got a pretty solid resume for Hall of Fame.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. So that's it for the news. We're now going to go to our main event, which is we're going to be ranking every first overall pick since the year 2000. Before we do that, I do have a quick little segment for you guys. I'm going to give you all a bit of trivia right now. So regarding this, here's the first question: how many QBs have been drafted first overall since 2000?
It's 17.
Jacob, what's your guess?
13.
Mike's actually right. It is 17.
Damn.
It's weird. Like when you look at the, and we'll get into it when we get into the players. We look at the spread of positions. It's literally just like it's 22 picks across 3 players, across 3 positions. Like
Damn.
every first overall pick from the last 20 years, either been a QB, an edge, or a tackle. There's no in between.
I mean, it makes sense.
And second question: which team has picked the first overall the most since 2000?
Cleveland.
Colts.
Mike's actually half right. It's a tie. Cleveland and Houston both have picked first overall 3 times. All right, so Colts actually only picked first overall once, which is kind of amazing.
Oh, okay.
It was the year Manning got hurt.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna start right now. So first on the docket, first overall pick of 2000, Cleveland Browns select. I'm trying to remember this guy's name. Courtney Brown.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, the fact that I can barely remember this guy's name tells you basically all you need to know about this guy. So again,
Yeah,
first overall monster in college.
I had to do research on him. He like pretty much everybody else in the list. I was like, okay, I remember them. And I was going through the list. I'm like, why don't I remember this name? The reason none of us remember the name is he was hurt most of his career. So you know he did not play a ton in the NFL. So obviously right now we don't have anyone to go with him, but he is going to be towards the bottom.
Yeah, only finished his career with 19 sacks and 6 forced fumbles. He's only in the league for about 6 years.
I think it was 6 or 7 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2000, out of the league by 2005. So yeah, pretty unremarkable draft pick, for being completely honest. So yeah, we're gonna cut to the list right now. Hold up. And share. So right now he's number 1 on the list purely because there is nobody else on the list.
By default.
By default, he is number 1 on the list. All right. Moving on to our next player. The first pick of the 2001 draft, Michael Vick.
So he's one of the ones that I had to like take a step back because like you're talking 2 different players here. If you're talking him on the Falcons, he's one of the most dynamic players you will ever have seen in the game of football. Obviously, after the dogfighting ring and all that, he had one like half season in Philadelphia where he was amazing, and then it was all downhill. But the beginning of his career, he would be, if you're just looking at that, he would be one of the top players on this entire list. However, you have to take the whole career into account, so that he's above Brown.
Yeah, like Michael Vick in his prime was a special player.
He was. I would say he's better than Lamar is right now.
I would say like Michael Vick might be the best dual threat quarterback I've maybe ever seen.
Look, given
Cunningham,
and this is a minor spoiler alert for this entire list. Given how the number 1 overall draft picks have pretty much gone since 2000, he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I agree.
He's top 5 in here because he's probably arguably one of the best dual threat quarterbacks we've ever had. And even despite the second half of his career, it's that. So yeah, he's easily top 5.
So I went through and kind of like penciled in a list, and I think I had him at 6, but we're probably splitting hairs on one player. So,
Yeah.
So all right. So as of right now, Michael Vick is overtaking Courtney Brown for number 1 spots.
Okay.
Okay. Courtney Brown's okay. You're still number 2 right now. All right. So next player up, first overall pick from the 2002 NFL draft by the Houston Texans, David Carr.
Oof.
David Carr just had the misfortune coming into a really, really shit situation. Let the record show. David Carr still holds the record for being the most sacked quarterback in a single season.
Oof. Yeah.
Even aside from that, David Carr was pretty unremarkable as a QB, and like it's not all his fault,
Right.
but still, man, you look at his stats. He finished his career with 65 touchdowns, 71 picks, which isn't, I mean, not awful, but again, not first overall pick good. Still finished with like a semi-respectable passer rating, 74.9. So my question is, where does what do you guys think about David Carr? Where are we saying right now?
He's above Brown because he was a pretty much perennial backup for a long time. Was a pretty good mentor to quite a few players, and obviously now he's a pundit and is pretty smart. He's obviously not at Vic's level, but he at least, you remember him as opposed to Courtney Brown. So I would say at the moment is number 2.
Yeah, I think he's. Look, we've got 23 years, so he's on the outside looking in of top 15, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't. But he's definitely number 2 at the moment.
All right, so bringing back up the list. All right, so David Carr moves Courtney Brown down to 3. All right, moving on. Next player on the list. First overall pick from the 2004 NFL Draft, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Carson Palmer.
Shouldn't it be 2003?
That's it. 2003. Oh, I said 4. I meant 3.
Yeah.
I meant 3.
Carson
2003,
Palmer. Carson Palmer's a real interesting one. Started off fair, like when he first got to the Bengals wasn't like great, but he wasn't awful. Became awful. Goes to the Cardinals and kind of
It's
has
good
a
again.
renaissance.
So weird. So weird.
I mean, look, Carson Palmer is one of those quarterbacks that you go, oh, coaching matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also it's funny because Joe Burrow was this close to actually getting Carson Palmer in his rookie year. Actually, no, not close. He did get Carson Palmer in his rookie year.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's so. I think like it's one of those ones where it goes, look, he showed enough in Arizona to be like, okay, no, he could have been a good player if he had a real coach around him his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
Again, it's hard because we're talking, hey, what did you actually do? What he did in Arizona is good enough to make him number 2 on this list at the moment.
I'd say
but
so.
I
Like
think
right
he's-
now, did he do enough to put himself over Michael Vick?
No, God, no.
All right, so Michael, so we're putting him at 2 below Michael Vick.
I think so. I think we've
All right.
lost Mike again.
We might have lost Mike again, but I can get down with Carson Palmer at 2. All right, let's see, pulling up the next draft pick. This one's going to be really interesting because we got the first overall pick of the 2004 draft. San Diego Chargers selected Eli Manning.
Okay. I'm a Manning fan. I don't like I said, I don't think he is an all-time great, but I think he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. And I think that he was a good quarterback who lightning struck twice at the best possible time and who always lived in the shadow of his bigger brother, who is a lot more talented.
Yes,
But I do still think he is a good player.
I would agree. Like I think Eli Manning is good. Problem is, he's not Peyton.
Yeah, and that's for look.
You look at his stats, like he's not great.
No, but I also think the problem was Eli had the biggest problem was one, how he got drafted, I think forever and always was held against him because of the circumstances around that, I think was forever and always held against him. 2, his older brother, I think is the other. He lived in the shadow of his older brother, and he is nowhere near as good as his older brother. And 3, I think he played for too long. I think because he played for too long, his stats got a lot worse. and progressively just he needed to hang it up a few years earlier.
That being said, I do think you could argue that Manning had maybe the best career of any first overall pick.
Of this list, he had the best.
So
Yeah.
far, yes.
So,
I don't think he will 10 years from now, but
Right.
but
There's
right
two names
now-
that are going above him eventually.
So okay, so right now I think he's definitely. So Eli Manning's definitely at least number 2 right now. Do we put him above Michael Vick?
I would argue yes because of results.
I can see the argument. I think
Look,
it's tough though. I think Vick's a better player.
Yeah.
Don't make me the deciding vote. Oh,
Eli meant more to his team. Eli was forever a Giant. Like Vic, while he was number one overall pick, became a deterrent for the Falcons eventually. Like Eli was the face of the Giants, won them 2 Super Bowls. You know, even though he might not be quite as good of a player as Vic was in his prime, if you're looking mechanically, he got the wins.
Vic's highs are high, but his lowers are low.
Yes.
Whereas in Eli's, was a lot more consistent. You knew what you were going to get.
So Michael Vick has been dethroned as number 1.
Yeah, I think
so.
you got to. Look, the dude won 2 Super Bowls. Like I that is a thing. Like you won 2 fucking Super Bowls, and you won the Super Bowl. You won the Super Bowl that you will forever and always hold over Brady and that Patriots team. You won the one you shouldn't have won.
Destroyed the perfect season.
Yeah, you were the quarterback that ruined the perfect season. That makes you number 1 right now. Like, I'm fine with that.
You're number 1 on the heroes list.
Putting number one is a big middle finger to Tom Brady. So you know what? I will get behind Vic being number 1. All right. Up next, first pick from the 2005 overall NFL draft, Alex Smith from the San Francisco 49ers. I think people forget just how good Alex Smith was.
Yeah,
But it wasn't on the 49ers.
It's one of those careers that
Well, it was for a good amount. He had a pretty good run in San Francisco.
Yeah, but it's one of those careers where you just go, the man, what could have been. Like, he was. You look at it and you go, man, you should have been better. You should have been just that little bit more.
This is one of the easy ones for me. Like right now, with where our list is right now, he's just above Carson Palmer.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think he's a better Carson. He's better than Carson Palmer. I haven't got him higher than Vic though.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so right now we got Alex Smith at 3 above Carson Palmer. Okay, that I can get behind. All right, moving on to our next pick from the 2006 NFL draft. We got defensive end Mario Williams. Mario Williams is a player I think people kind of slept on because he sneakily had a pretty good career.
It was never the elite level at the NFL, but he was always consistent.
Yeah, dude finished his career with 3 All-Pro selections, 4 Pro Bowls, and 97.5 sacks. A pretty solid numbers.
Pick.
I would say for an edge, first overall, I know you want a lot more, but again, as far as better than Courtney Brown, definitely better than Courtney Brown.
Yep.
That's the bar.
This is one of the tough ones though. He's definitely above Courtney Brown. He's definitely above Carr. I'd say he's above Palmer too, honestly, in terms of what he did for his career and his consistency of play. It's hard to put him at the tippy top of this list, but dude was super consistent. I think I'd put him above Carson Palmer.
So I guess the debate is whether or not he's 4 or 5 at this point.
Yeah. Given the first half of Carson's career, I'm fine with Mario being 4th.
All right, we'll put Mario at 4 right now. Now, here's where shit starts to get interesting. First pick of the 2007 NFL draft. Jamarcus
spot for this.
Russell.
There's one
This is
spot.
the easiest one of all.
Yep.
Does anyone want to argue him being higher than bottom of the list?
No. We lose all legitimacy if he is any higher than last. Sorry, this is the worst number one overall pick of all time. Not just since 2000. This is the worst one in period.
Yeah. For those of you who may not know, Jamarcus Russell, again, absolute stud at LSU, but his skills just did not convert to the NFL level, and that's partially because I chose this picture deliberately because of his just awful work ethic.
That is the worst work ethic of any pro athlete, not just football player, athlete I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, just give you all a story about this guy. There was this one situation in which Jamarcus said he was watching film. The coaches didn't believe him, so they gave him some game tapes to go home and study. And they came home after the weekend. He's like, "Hey, you watch this game?" They're like, "Oh yeah, I got it. We're gonna pick up on that cover 2 blitz." The tapes are blank. That's how they knew he wasn't watching anything.
That's my favorite. That's the same story where during the draft and when everyone's doing the interviews, they'll put $100 inside
the back page of the book, the playbook.
Yeah, back page of the playbook to make sure
that they're being read.
Yeah, it's to see if they've actually read it.
All right, so Jamarcus he's definitely bottom.
AJ Ryan was never a number one overall pick.
He was not. He was number 2.
He was number 2.
All right. Although Ryan Leaf, another colossal. Eventually, we will do our top 10 biggest draft busts, period of all time.
He's top 5, probably top 3.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's them too. I think it's Jamarcus and Ryan.
Wilson's raising his hand.
Oh, okay. Wilson's putting his argument up. Wilson's going, "Hey, I'm around."
Don't forget me, guys. All right. Up next, we have first overall pick from the 2008 NFL Draft, offensive tackle Jake Long. Jake Long, solid NFL starter for the duration of his career. Finished career with two All-Pro selections, 4 Pro Bowls. Started for 4 different teams in his tenure, which doesn't say much about him. But he filled out his rookie contract in Miami, but not much after that. He was let go after the 2012 season. They kept bouncing from team to team. So I think this is an average first overall pick.
Well, I wouldn't even say average. It's like he's going to probably be towards the bottom half of the list when we get through it. But he was okay. He's not he shouldn't have been the first overall pick in the grand scheme of things, but he was an okay NFL player.
Yeah.
He's one of those ones where if you draft him, 15th or 16th, oh my God, we got a steal.
Yeah.
But number 1 overall, it's
exactly.
Really?
You got expectation, which he really did not live up to, for being completely honest. So, okay, definitely higher than Jamarcus Russell. Is he higher than
Courtney Brown?
Yeah.
Is he higher than David Carr? I would say yes.
I'd go yes.
Over Carr.
I think this is where right now this is where he stops. I'm not putting him above Carson Palmer.
I'm on page with you.
Yeah, I think the All Pros and Pro Bowl selections get him at least above David Carr.
Yeah. And Palmer's best seasons are better than Long's best seasons. So yeah, I go Palmer above him.
Yeah. All right. Now here's one that I think is gonna be a fascinating conversation. First overall pick from 2009 NFL Draft, Matthew Stafford, Detroit Lions.
He's currently number 1 for me.
Right now, he's currently number 1.
Yeah, okay. I was curious to see where he would compare via Manning, because here's the thing: if you look at his stat, I know his teams were always really, really shitty because again he played for Detroit. But if you look at his stats, he was actually a better quarterback than Eli Manning.
So Eli Manning, okay. Eli Manning is a very good quarterback because of his teams. Matt Stafford is a very good quarterback despite his teams. And that's I think you put Matt Stafford on that Giants team, they probably win 4 Super Bowls. Like
Yep.
it's one of those ones where he was really held back by how bad the Lions were, and then he got to go to the Rams. We haven't talked about this upcoming season. I think the Rams are going to be a pretty good team next year. I think last season was an aberration, and I think it was just really hurt by injuries. Matt Stafford's a really good quarterback, guys. Like, he's a really, really good quarterback. He's going to, I think he is more than likely going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that Super Bowl really helped his Hall of Fame case because it's going to cause people to go back and like reevaluate the earlier part of his career. Like, because you saw how good he was the second he got out of Detroit.
He threw for 4,000 yards every year in Detroit. Like, and with the teams he had, even after Calvin Johnson retired, like, this dude was the market consistency with terrible teams.
Yeah.
So remember that game where he threw like 6 touchdowns and they still lost the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, Matt Stafford being number 1. We all good with that?
Absolutely, right now.
At the moment, he is definitely number 1.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad we had that little reprieve of niceties because I don't think we'll have not say about this guy. First, our pick from the 2010 NFL Draft, Sam Bradford.
Wow, he had so much potential, and
Bradford had flashes of brilliance. He had flashes of being a great quarterback.
There were some games that you watched him and were like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And then other games like, oh my God, this guy just threw the game away. Like, he was so inconsistent. He was like Baker before Baker. But I think he hit the difference between him and Baker. They're going to be pretty close, I think, when we get to Baker. I think the two of them, honestly, are a pretty good comparison to each other. But Bradford, when he was on, I think was, not quite the top tier quarterback, but definitely was like, I earned outright this starting position in the NFL. But the fact that he was a number 1 overall pick,
his injury history also just does not help. This is a dude who was just absolutely destroyed by injuries.
So when you say that, think about him and Alex Smith, 2 guys who were both super injured. Alex Smith was able to recover from the injuries Bradford never really did.
Yeah, so I would say, okay, so let's cut back to the list right now.
I'd actually put Palmer above him.
As of right now, yeah. So we're definitely higher than all these guys. Is he better or worse than Jake Long?
I might put Jake Long above him.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. All right, yeah. So right there, 8 right now.
Right now, yeah.
I'm fair. I'm at the moment. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Up next. First pick of the 2011 NFL Draft, Cam Newton. People again, he's one of those guys. People forget, like the past couple of years, kind of just like blinded people with like the early years of Cam. Cam Newton at his peak was a special player.
MVP. He was the MVP.
He was.
Look, I'm going to say he's better than Vic because and this is going to be solely because of the suspension. I'm going that he is higher than Vic because of this. That's the thing that gets him over the line.
I mean, I get the logic here, but at the same time, I still think even as a dual threat quarterback, as a passer, as a runner, you got to give it to Vic.
Yeah.
I think this is going to depend on, like, are we judging based on caliber of player or are we judging by career? Because I think if you're going based on career, you would have to go Cam Newton. If you're going caliber of the player, I think you have to go Vic.
So I'm going to go back to something I said about Eli Manning, and this kind of applies to Cam Newton. Cam Newton was the Panthers. Like, for a few years there, he took that team on his back, for better or worse. And I think he and Vic, where you're going is exactly where my head is too, that they are probably going to be back to back on this list. Which one we put above the other it's tough because I think Vic as a player, like, his ceiling was higher. Like, Vic at his highest highs was better than Newton. And I think Newton at his lowest lows was worse than Vic. However, Newton was more consistent in the middle ground than Vic never had a middle ground. Vic was either explosive or not. Newton, for a lot of the time, was in that middle ground. He had some explosive games, some terrible games, especially towards the end of his career. But I lean ever so slightly Newton. He led the team to the Super Bowl. And
got his ass whipped in the Super Bowl too.
Got his ass whipped, but won an MVP. Vic never did that. I very, very slightly go Newton.
All right, so Cam Newton.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so Cam Newton, number 3. All right. Moving on to our next first pick. Oh, this one is shed a tear for the first. Shed a tear for the first overall pick of the 2012 NFL draft. Andrew Luck.
This is the toughest one for me. This is by far the toughest one for me.
Because look, Andrew Luck was a great quarterback.
He was on pace, like where he was, to be in the possible top 15, top 10 of all time.
Yeah.
Obviously, things happened. But where he was in that brief time, he was never the number 1 in the league. He happened to play at the same time as so many greats. But I think he's more talented than Stafford. Going with this list, he went in there to a situation where there was a team that was carried by Peyton Manning that aged out of all of their star players, and he went into an awful situation in Indianapolis and almost immediately made them a contender.
That he did. He was represents one of the biggest what ifs in NFL history. I don't know if we talked about it on our what if episode, but like Andrew Luck retiring is like one of the saddest moments of recent sports history.
I got a funny story I'll share real quick. We the day he retired was obviously preseason game. My buddies and I were together for our fantasy football draft, and one of the guys used him as his keeper. And we're in the middle of the draft, and he's like, "Oh God damn it, Andrew Luck just retired."
You're not retired. Why would you do this to me? Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be interesting. The placement on this one is gonna be very interesting. So, okay, bottom line, we're moving up at least. He's at least top 5 given what we have on the list right now.
Right now, he's at least top 5.
So, all right, above Alex Smith, is he above Michael Vick?
Oof.
Oh God.
This is where it's like the placement from here gets tough.
It's such a short window that he has.
Yeah.
Look, I okay. Here's my thing. I don't think because I know given what we've got left, I don't think Andrew Luck is a top 5 quarterback.
He won't be yet because there's 2 coming up that are very obviously going to be very high.
So I think I think given the what if nature of his career, I think he should be 5.
That's fair.
I think it's fine, because him and Michael Vick are both in a certain way what ifs. Because circumstances happen that never let them hit their full potential. So I think that him going there is fine for now. It's just like I really wish we could have seen what he could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is number 5.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Up next, first overall pick from the 2013 NFL Draft, offensive tackle Eric Fisher for the Kansas City Chiefs. 2013, let's just say this was a terrible draft.
If you look at that draft, it's one of the worst of all time.
Yeah, this is a draft class full of just absolutely unremarkable players.
And he's a guy too. If we said it earlier about Jake Long, very similar. He struggled like hell at the beginning of his career. He wound up becoming a good situational player as his career went on, but his struggles those first 2-3 years with Kansas City are well documented, and he did not at all live up to the number 1 pick. Like next to Courtney Brown, honestly, of everybody on this, and Jamarcus obviously, but you're talking the person who stuck out like a sore thumb because he was the number one pick.
Yeah, again, didn't do anything like that remarkable. Sure, he's got a Super Bowl ring, but that's a Super Bowl ring and 2 Pro Bowl selection. That's about
He
as good
he
as
has
he's
a
got.
Super Bowl ring that he didn't play in.
That's true. He didn't play in that Super Bowl. All right.
I actually just I very quickly looked at that draft. That first round is awful.
Terrible.
But
Oh,
the
terrible.
rest of it's actually
it's
like
the
the
worst.
rest of the
Oh,
draft.
the
there's
depth, yes.
So many names. You just see like holy fuck, there's names in this. But like the best player in that first draft is probably Hopkins.
No, it's easily Hopkins. I don't know who else you put up against him.
I thought maybe Lane Johnson. Maybe.
Oh, I forgot Lane Johnson 2013. I would still go Hopkins, but yeah.
I look, I would still too, but like Lane's the only other argument you've got. Like,
All right.
but yeah,
So
it's
above Jamarcus, above Courtney Brown, is he above David Carr?
Probably not.
yeah,
He's Eric Fisher at least got 2 Pro Bowls. David Carr did not.
yeah. I'm probably going to put him above Bradford, to be perfectly honest.
Really?
I think he got a Super Bowl. Like, I don't know.
You just said he
He's
didn't
on-
play.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what do you think? Above or below Bradford?
I think for his whole career, both of them, like they are such similar. Like they have their really, really bad, and then Bradford. I go slightly Bradford. Bradford at his best was better than Fisher at his best.
Yeah, I would agree.
Fair enough.
Bradford did at least win Offensive Rookie of the Year, so there's that. So, all right. Up next, first overall pick from the 2014 NFL Draft, Jadeveon Clowney for Houston.
Solid.
Solid enough. I think Clowney left a lot to be desired for being first
Mhm.
overall, and Clowney in college was a fucking monster. I still think Clowney is at least like a serviceable NFL starter.
Oh, absolutely. He's currently unsigned, isn't he?
Currently,
Nice.
yes.
Oh, okay. I thought he was with the Browns. No, they released
No,
him,
no,
so-
he decided not to go back to Cleveland for obvious reasons. So, yeah.
Again, if he's not the number one overall pick, this is a really solid NFL player. You know, he's going to have the stigma of being the number one overall pick attached to him forever. But he's had a solid career. It's not remarkable, but he's been solid.
Yeah, he absolutely has. All right, so figuring out where he ranks on this list. All right, so I think he's definitely above at least Sam Bradford.
That's pretty much.
I'd put him-
I
I'd
think
put him
he'd go
above
Long.
Above Long? Is he above Carson Palmer?
Ooh, that's a good question.
My gut says no.
More of a consistent career. I think I'm okay with him where he is right now.
Yeah, I think Davian's good at 9. All right. Next, first overall pick of the 2015
There's
NFL
a fun
Draft.
one. There's a fun one.
Famous Jameis.
You want to talk about wasted fucking potential? Jesus,
Jameis Crab Legs Winston.
fuck me.
Yeah.
Like-
Again, Jameis was one of those guys, absolutely special in college, but NFL, serviceable, solid, but like not
But no,
first
no,
overall pick
In,
good.
in the NFL, if the dude has an incredible ball, like he can throw, he's beautiful to watch. He just keeps throwing it to the wrong fucking person.
Yeah.
You talk about like the bet, like think about that class, the 2015 class, and you have 2 quarterback saviors going back to back, and they both flamed out. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, just everybody going into it was like, oh my God, this is the quarterback class to end all quarterback classes before, like, you know, when it was happening, and good Lord, did it look what happened.
Yeah, like
Yeah, Jameis was again like an incredible arm. One problem is his decision making fucking sucks.
yeah, it's just
frustrating to watch because you can see it. You just
Mhm.
sit there, oh, I can see the talent. I can see. Oh, it's so frustrating.
This is one of those ones that I looked at like probably after Andrew Luck. I was like, where the hell do we put him? Like this
Yeah,
is
well,
one of the-
I'm putting, look,
let's find out where we put Jameis Winston.
I'm not putting him above Palmer. The frustration alone, I can't do it.
Okay,
He's too
so
frustrating.
right now, okay, so is he above Jake Long?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's
Jake
sad.
Long can piss me off. Fuck, Jameis Winston just pisses me off because he's so fucking talented and he just squanders it and it pisses me off.
He created the 30-30 club.
Yeah, he did. He's the only member of the 30 for 30 club. Ah, damn. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So James was at 11. We good right there?
Fuck, I want Bradford above him.
No, I'm not doing that. He's better than Bradford. Again, this is making fucking suck, but his highs are higher than Bradford.
No, like he's at least, again, you can see the talent. You can see just how good. I mean, I get why Peyton went, I can fix that. And then went, fuck this shit, I can't fix that.
Yeah. All right. So right. Okay. So right there.
This one, I mean, I'm excited for this one.
Up next, first overall pick from the 2016 NFL Draft, Jared Goff. Goff's one of those guys. In his first few years, he struggled hard. This dude couldn't throw to save his fucking life until Sean McVay got there. Sean McVay was able to make Jared Goff a serviceable, hell, even a good quarterback.
Look, I really like Goff. I think Goff, I don't think he's an incredible quarterback. I think he is a good enough quarterback where he can get you solid wins if you build the right team around him. I think he is the epitome of coaching matters. I think he is a quarterback who you need to have the right team and a really good coach around him, but he can deliver. I think he's just below Andrew Luck at the moment.
I mean, can he deliver? He was pretty ass in the Super Bowl he was in the one Super Bowl he was in.
Okay, but so was Tom Brady in that Super Bowl.
That Super Bowl was awful.
That Super Bowl was
Alright?
awful.
It's the worst Super Bowl we've probably ever had.
I mean, Jared Goff was so bad first overall pick that the Rams decided we're never going to do this ever. We're never going to pick in the first round ever again. All right,
Look.
so right now we're putting him. Okay, so above below Alex Smith.
Oh
First-
no, right? Actually, no, I'm not going to put him above Alex Smith.
I was
So-
going to say the same thing. I think I put Alex Smith above him.
So
Yeah,
so
no,
you get
I forgot that Alex Smith was under Andrew Luck. I think 7 is a good spot for him.
That's fair.
All right. Up next, first overall pick from the 2017 NFL Draft, Myles Garrett.
Right? Okay, you guys are okay. Right now he's either 1 or 2.
Mm,
I have him pretty high as well.
He's easy top 5, easy. I think he has been he's the best non-quarterback to be picked up.
non-quarterback, absolutely. He is the best.
He's the best.
He is-
And look,
Next to Stafford, the most consistent player we've talked about so far.
yeah.
I
He-
don't think he's done enough to put himself above Stafford, but I can see.
No,
I would agree with him in top 3 at least.
That's fine. I'm fine to put him number 2 then because I'm fine with that. But he's definitely better than Eli. He is better than Eli right now.
This guy lived up to the hype. If Mahomes was not in his draft class, like for people to say, "Oh, Mahomes should have been the number 1 overall pick," you put Garrett in almost any other of these draft classes, and he would have been the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
Like, no, undisputed. You know, he was the actual number 1 pick, but like the undisputed best player of the draft class.
yeah. Garrett's been incredible. Like, a helmet throw notwithstanding, he has been an incredible player for the Browns. He's probably the only reason the Browns are actually relevant at the moment. Yeah, I think he is absolutely an incredible player, and yeah, he's number 2. I think he's number 2.
All right, so we're putting Garrett up at 2.
I'm fine with that. Like, yeah, he's been worth every bit of hype.
On a potential Hall of Fame trajectory. So yeah, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's potential. I think he is on. That guy is gonna be in the Hall of Fame, I think.
All right, it's Myles Garrett shooting all the way up to number 2. All right, up next,
That's gonna be fun.
2018, also by the Browns, Baker Mayfield. Keep in mind, he's the only other player to be the result of an on whatever season. Yeah, so he was.
It was
16. 16.
0-16, but this is like the winless season. This is the results. And the results not great, if we're being completely honest.
Look, he's better than Jameis.
I agree.
Look, okay, personally, I really like Baker. I think you look at that first season, he was incredible. Absolutely insanely talented. What he was able to do with that Browns team that first season was incredible. He is a huge victim of his own ego and horrific coaching. Like,
I was gonna say that system is terrible.
Dumbest choices at coach for 3 years straight. Like, and admittedly, Baker was part of the problem in that. I'm not gonna he is on 100% part of this problem, but he is talented. But then I also think he's just made the single stupidest mistake of his career by going to Tampa Bay instead of staying with a good coach.
So the big thing with him, out of all of these players we talked about, Baker is fueled by adrenaline. When he is hyped up, that dude can go out and beat almost anybody. But if the tank of the adrenaline is on low or empty, he is going to be one of the worst.
God help you.
Yeah.
Look, Baker needs a good team around him. Like, he cannot be the driving force of the team. Hence why I think him going to Tampa is a dumb decision, because that team's going to be bad. But at the same time, I really do think that, like, I think the talent is there, and I think he has shown enough of the talent is there that I understand why other teams go, we need to try and get him.
Okay, so let's talk about positioning. So we're saying above Jameis Winston.
Yeah, he's above Jameis.
I think
above Jake Long.
I'm happy with it, but
I think I'm okay with him.
I'm a Baker fan, so I
think just below Jadeveon is right.
Sorry.
I think Jadeveon's above him, but that's a fair placement.
Yeah. So we'll leave him right there, below Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
All right. Next on the list, first overall pick from the 2019 NFL Draft, Kyler Murray.
Oh, this is another painful one because the fucking talent's there. Like, my
kind of like with Jamarcus, like they've got the talent, but none of the work ethic. Apparently,
he's so fucking talented. Just doesn't give a shit. Sorry, I'm frustrated.
Okay, who frustrates you more, Kyler Murray or Jameis Winston?
Kyler, because it's one of my teams. Like, Jameis would never played for the Cardinals or the Bills.
Well, Kyler has the higher ceiling than Jameis, I think. I think Kyler, if the two of them were both at their full potential, I think Kyler would be the better quarterback. But he's never even come close to it.
Oh.
And he's just like, when we're talking about him and Jameis, I think you have to put them next to each other.
I think so too. I think he's one above Jameis, but yeah. Jesus Christ. The fact that Baker's higher than him is just dead set hilarious to me.
Okay, so we're putting Kyler currently above Jameis?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
All right.
I'll go with that. That's fine.
Okay. Up next, first overall pick from the 2020 NFL Draft, Joe Burrow.
Sorry, Chance. He's number one.
No, absolutely
He's number
fucking
one.
not.
He is
I got
number
him at
one
two.
right now. He
No,
is
I
the
got him at
number
two.
one quarterback right now and the number
No.
one overall pick.
He hasn't
Sorry,
done it. Again, we're
absolutely.
on pedigree of career. He hasn't fucking done anything.
Okay, I'm sorry, but he has. He's done the Patrick Mahomes other than win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
No,
I
he hasn't won. He hasn't won MVP. He's never been an
Sorry,
All-Pro.
he is number one out of all of these. He is on a better career trajectory than Matt Stafford. I'm sorry,
Trajectory, no, but like
he is.
no, you keep moving the goalposts. We're talking about like the caliber of player. We're talking
Okay, well, it's
about
hard.
what he's
Sorry,
done.
okay, it's hard when he hasn't had a career to do this. You have to go at this point. These last few, we have to go on potential and what they have done compared to we've
But even
seen.
then, like,
that
I'm not
stuff
gonna
for
say like
10
he's
years.
not. I'm not gonna say he's like not top 5 because of his potential, but like I'm not putting him number 1.
I think
Can't do
he's number one. I'm sorry. I think he's going to own the fucking league for the next decade.
You see what happened last time you said that.
Sorry,
Like, compared
he's
to the
going to own your
76ers.
division. Sorry, no, not the league. Sorry, your division for the next decade.
That's a lie. Kenny Pickett's going to own the division next decade.
Okay,
but,
sorry. Sorry, when was the last time you won the? When was the last time since
I
Joe
need
Burrow's
not.
been in the league that you won the division?
literally the first year he was in the league.
Oh, when he was injured, right? And then
Doesn't matter.
you
We
sucked
still
the last
won.
2 years.
Don't matter.
You
All right,
sucked
so
the last 2
right
years.
now, I would put him at 4 because like I can't again just given what these 3 guys have done, they still all 3 have done more than Joe Burrow has.
Fuck no. He is better already than Eli Manning. I will give you Garrett. A Garrett I'll give you, but he is better than Eli Manning. No, I'm sorry. That's an insult.
No, I'm not moving. I'm not moving him. Mike, I don't care what you say. He stays.
That is a hot chance. If it was not a Bengals, he would be absolutely third right now.
That's a lie.
Oh, bullshit. Bullshit.
Mike, what do you think?
I mean, I have him above Eli. I think in terms, he's proven it already. Like the dude's the real deal. I can't say I put him above Stafford. Garrett's a conversation because we were talking about Garrett. Garrett's just proven it. Garrett has proven it that he was worth everything. But I do agree with Jacob. Like if you were to take all of these guys directly out of college, every single one of them, and put them in the same draft right now, and just going based on what we know, there's an argument that he'd be number 1, if not, or number 2. I have him above Eli. If you want to put him below Garrett, I'm fine with that. I don't think I go quite to Stafford yet.
Above Eli is putting below Garrett. So.
All right, I'll say that's fair.
All right. So we'll leave him at 3.
Chance.
What?
You can draft Matt Stafford or Joe Burrow. Which one are you picking?
Matt Stafford.
Seriously?
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Wow.
Like Matt Stafford now or Matt Stafford in his prime?
No, as in if right out what he said, right out of college.
Right
Matt
on
Stafford.
You're insane.
Joe Burrow's a little bitch.
You are insane.
All right. First overall pick of the 2021 overall draft, the androgynous wonder, Trevor Lawrence.
Such a small window to look at.
I know, but
Yeah.
these next 2 are going to be pretty difficult considering we don't have a lot to work with. But I will say, in his first year, it was looking pretty rough. But again, his second year proved that maybe Urban Meyer was not maybe he was the entire problem.
Yeah.
He lost.
100%.
Again, as I have said, coaching matters, and it got proven with Urban Meyer. I'm happy putting him 5 or even 4 above Eli, but like
I don't think I go above Eli quite
Wouldn't go-
yet.
yeah, and I get
I
that.
think in a year, we probably are talking something else because we're going to talk about this in the upcoming weeks. He is like one of my 2 or 3 outright breakout player of the year candidates.
He really is in that, like, okay, which year is the aberration? We don't know. And as in, like, in his career, is the first year going to be the aberration, or is last year going to be the aberration? And personally, I think we all are assuming, and probably correctly, that the first year is the aberration. So, like I said, I'm fine with 5 where he is right now based off last year.
Well, let's take a look at, like, because I think we're going, he's top 10. So above or below Jared Goff?
Above.
I think he's above what he's done. I think he's above Alex
Smith, Andrew Luck.
I think him and Andrew Luck are kind of perfectly together
They're
because
both what ifs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I think this is where T-Law lands right now.
Mm.
But his ceiling to get higher on this list, like if we do this next year,
There is a real chance next year we do this list and he's
he could be top 3.
All right.
Yeah.
And last one we're talking about, again, this one's like super hard because he's only been in the league for 1 year. Trayvon Walker, first overall pick from last year.
First things first, like last year's draft class was amazing, and I don't even think I have him in the top 10 players in that draft class. So it was a gigantic swing and a miss with such a talented and loaded class. And we're really not, you had 1 first-round quarterback in that draft class, and this draft class is going to be an all-timer, it looks like. He should not have been number 1.
Yeah, I mean, for being real, Sauce should have been number 1 given what he did his rookie year.
So, but even Hutchinson, just the thing that you were always picking, the player you were always going to pick, and then for some stupid reason in the last month, it was like, oh, actually, no, we're going to go with Walker. Hutchinson was the number 1 pick.
He was the whole time.
All off season, it was Hutchinson. Oh no, we're going to go with Walker. What are you doing? Anyway.
All right, so this is going to be an interesting one of the plays. He hasn't done a ton. Like his first season, not amazing, but not awful by any means.
He's above all the outright busts, but I don't think. Well, maybe I might even say
below Kyler. Honestly,
he's too high. He's too high already. I'd put him right in the same category as Fisher.
Yeah, I think I can get down with that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so actually, well, why did I stop sharing? So we're going to go over the list that we have assembled today. So this is our ranking bottom to top, first overall picks ranked. Number 23, Jamarcus Russell, obviously. Number 22, Courtney Brown. 21, David Carr. 20, Eric Fisher. 19, Trayvon Walker. 18, Sam Bradford. 17, Jameis Winston. 16, Kyler Murray. 15, Jake Long. 14, Baker Mayfield. 13, Jadeveon Clowney. 12, Carson Palmer. 11, Mario Williams. We got going to the top 10. We got number 10, Jared Goff. Number 9, Alex Smith. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence. Number 7, Andrew Luck. Number 6, Michael Vick. Number 5, Cam Newton. Number 4, Eli Manning. Ugh. Number 2, Myles Garrett. And number 1, Matthew Stafford.
I'm fine with this list. I think it's
I think Burrow's number 1 personally, but whatever.
Look, if we revisit this in a couple of years, maybe he'll be number 1. I seriously doubt it. Maybe.
I cannot wait though. Chances currently for fantasy this year is staring at the number 4 pick overall. And what happens if Mahomes, Hurts, and what's his face? Who's the other? Josh Allen. If Mahomes, Allen, and Hurts in a 2-quarterback league are taking, will you leave Burrow on the board? I can't wait to see what happens.
No comment.
No, he's gonna have. If he doesn't pick Pickett, if your first quarterback is not Pickett, I'm gonna roast the fuck out of you.
My first quarterback is not Pickett.
Sorry,
my first quarterback isn't Pickett.
Yeah, if you don't pick, if the quarterback for your team is not Pickett, it's like, oh, you don't believe in him. You don't actually fully believe in him.
I will get Pickett. I will get Pickett. And I never realized saying this. Someone's going to sign me, but I will get Pickett. I'm All right. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us here today. Jacob, anything you want to plug before we head out?
I'm currently on hiatus on our podcast just because of the moving, and our co-host is currently in Greece. So we'll be back in about 2 weeks. Other than that, you can just find me everywhere at Jacob London, and pretty much screaming and yelling about movies and how Joe Burrow is going to kick the Steelers' ass for the next decade.
See, okay. When we sweep the Bengals again this year, I'm going to clip this, and you are going to have to cop to it.
Fair.
All right, Mike.
You can find me every Wednesday night on What the Show. And actually, this week I will be appearing on Last American Heroes as the bartender for PLD versus Jake. Small spoiler alert: exactly what you think is going to happen happens.
And you found me at Twitter, Chance, _ 91. Check out the Choice by Chance, the podcast. We'll get hopefully getting our next episode out very soon. Check it out. We did some trailer reactions on this channel. Go check those out too. And tune in for the next episode of Left Strong Side because I am so excited for what our next episode is going to be. Not going to spoil it here, but it's going to be a really, really fun show. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Holy shit.